verses 15 and 16. He went out into the desert and he spent 3 years in the Arabian desert before he made himself known to the churches. All right, so you want to know, what is Paul doing in the desert for 3 years before the churches experience his ministry? God's putting truth into Paul's heart. God's putting Romans and Corinthians and Galatians and Ephesians and Philippians and Colossians and Thessalonians and Timothy. And Paul writes half the New Testament, but if Paul had not spent 3 years alone with God in an Arabian desert, would Paul have been in a place to have received all that from God? What about Revelation? You know where the Apostle John was when John wrote the book of Revelation? He was exiled on an island. John is exiled on the island of Patmos when he writes the Revelation. What if John hadn't been exiled on an island? Would he have been in a position where God could have given him those deep truths of I'm just saying to us, it's like Jesus in Mark 1:35, and having gotten up a long time before daylight, he went to a solitary place and prayed. We got to find a solitary place. We got to find a prayer closet. We got to find an island of Patmos. We got to find an Arabian desert, because if we're going to glow and radiate with the presence of God, we've got to have desperation in our life. I want God more than I want stuff, and we got to have some separation. There's a time to come together and to have corporate prayer and corporate Bible study, but there's also a time to get in the prayer closet and shut the door and be alone with God. See, a third thing tonight. Got to have some preparation. Now look in verse number 2. What God says to him. God says, be ready. Now, God says you better get prepared. Be ready in the morning. And come up in the morning. So this is like Saturday night. And God reminds Moses, tomorrow morning you and I have an appointment to keep. And when you come to meet with me tomorrow morning, Moses, I want you, verse 2 says, I want you to be ready, because you're going to present, verse 2 says, you're going to present yourself to me. Do you know what every one of us are doing here tonight? See, we don't think of it this way. We came to hear some songs, came to hear the preacher sing 2 words over and over again. Even I can do that. Not taking anything away from you, Brother Michael. Came for a fellowship, finger foods. I want to see you eat those collard greens with your fingers. Now, I'm from Kentucky, but I ain't never seen that done before. But you know what we're actually doing tonight? We're presenting ourselves to God. Do you know that? Do you know every time you come to church, that's what you're doing? You're presenting yourself to God. That's what the Bible says. Let me give you two comparisons, okay? In 2 Chronicles chapter 12, I believe it is. 2 Chronicles chapter 12, it is. There's a king called Rehoboam. He's an evil king. See, why is Rehoboam so evil? I'll tell you why Rehoboam is so evil. 2 Chronicles 12:14 says, and he did evil because he did not prepare his heart. Isn't that something? God says you're an evil man because you didn't prepare your heart. Now, in contrast to that, let me show you just a few chapters over in 2 Chronicles chapter 19 and verse number 3. There's a good king, and the good king is Jehoshaphat, and it says, good things are found in you because you have prepared your heart. So God looks at all of us tonight and says, man, that guy's It's bad because he didn't come with a prepared heart, and that fella's good because he did prepare his heart. Every time we come to church, we better come with a prepared heart. How do we do that? Well, for one thing, get some sleep. Second thing, bring a Bible. Third thing, bring a pen and a piece of paper. So where did I get that from? Do you know what Moses carried up on top of that mountain with him? A pen and a piece of paper. Yes, he did. Why would Moses carry a pen and a piece of paper up on top of the mountain? Because Moses was prepared. And Moses thought God might have something to say that I need to write down. And you know what? God did have something to say that did need to be written down, and it was the 10 Commandments. Good thing Moses was prepared with pen and paper to write it down. So we come to church prepared. We come to church with a spirit of desperation. We come to church after having already spent time alone with God. I'll give you another thing about having a life-altering encounter with God. Next thing that we need resignation. Look in verse number 8. So Moses made haste, and bowed his head. If you knew the literal presence of God was right here before you, is there anything you need to say to Him? Is there anything you need to give to Him? Is there anything you need to confess to Him? Can you imagine being in the literal presence of God tonight, which we are in God's presence? Is there anything you need to receive from Him? Encouragement, hope, forgiveness? Right now, just the presence of Jesus with us. Confess that worry, anxiety over tomorrow, fear and uncertainty, doubts, guilt, grief, troubled heart. Receive from Him peace. Ask Him to give you joy, restore your joy. The knowledge of His everlasting, unconditional love for you. God, right now in the room, whatever someone needs from you, oh God, please, I pray in your graciousness and kindness that you would give that to us. Bestow upon someone here forgiveness, grace, a reminder of your ever-present presence so they can face whatever it is they're up against that's waiting for them as soon as we dismiss.